Thank you for joining us for our 15-minute silent meditation. Let us begin by taking a deep, centering breath.
Good morning. Welcome to the Creative Living Fellowship Sunday morning online service. Please join Deborah Covington, our song leader, in our opening song, Use Me.
Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think God was the sun, God is the sun, and God's so much more than the earth and the stars and all of creation. God is creator, all in all, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Command my hands, what must they do? Command my life, it's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Hi, Ciela.
Hi, Ciela.
Hi. 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 Hi.
Good morning. I always smile and laugh when I see the kids. It is good to see them here on Sunday morning. I really miss them a lot. I'm the Reverend Dr. Sherry F. McCreary. I am Senior Minister here at Creative Living Fellowship, and it is my pleasure to welcome you here to our online Sunday service. Creative Living Fellowship is a religious science church and teaching center, and we welcome all paths that lead to truth. Our vision here is to be a community of care, connection, and creation that opens hearts and incubates dreams. And we do that through the principles and practices of the science of mind. One of our practices is holding the High Watch, and we have two practitioners who are holding virtual High Watch for us today. What that means is that they are sitting in meditation and prayerful contemplation, just holding a space for the perfect unfolding of this service and the perfect unfolding of whatever is going on wherever. Those practitioners are Reverend Joyce Bukers and Jeannie Sovereigns. Our sound team today, our AV team, is, as usual, Nicole Jordan and Deb Covington, and of course, David Panessa, our music director. They are all working together to bring this Sunday service to us, and I really appreciate them so very much. And thank you guys very much. We're going to have Nicole bringing us the video announcements in just a moment. And following the announcements, there will be a brief gong wash. After the gong wash, there'll be a few moments of silence. And after the silence, there will be a reading by practitioner Fran Peck, who will also bring us our opening prayer. But right now, we're going to have the video announcements. Nicole.
Good morning, Creative Living Fellowship. Are you ready for your announcements? Remember to join us for midday meditation on Facebook at noon, Monday through Thursday. Your children are invited to join our youth ministry weekly for Zoom lessons on Monday at 7 p.m. Lessons are focused on nurturing spirituality and our science of mind practices. Weekly topics are inspired by Reverend Sherry's themes and include growth mindset, social emotional skills, and mindfulness exercises. And the children are given weekly assignments to help solidify the lessons. Stay connected and supported with your CLF family and join Reverend Sherry every Tuesday as she hosts a Community Care Connection Zoom meeting at 6:30 p.m. There's no reason to miss out on your CLF family. While it is not the same as in-person connections, it's something, and we are so grateful for technology that enables us to stay in touch. We look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. This Friday at 7 p.m. is Quantum Chair Yoga and Meditation with Reverend Christopher Guru Karam Gallagher. Join Reverend Christopher for powerful Kundalini yoga practices and meditation. QCY is now offered twice a month for our love offering. Remember, you can text to give to make your contributions to CLF. Simply text the amount you'd like to donate to 602-610-1868. If it's your first time donating, you'll be sent a link to set up your account. And then after that, again, it is easy as texting the amount you would like to give to 602-610-1868. CLF is a tithing church, which means that we tithe off of your contributions. And our third quarter tithes are going to be going to St. Mary's Food Bank. Speaking of our quarterly tithes, we are looking for nonprofits to send our next quarterly tithes to. If you have a nonprofit you would like to nominate, please use the link found in the comments below or go to the web address scrolling across the screen. If you have been missing the opportunity to pray with a practitioner after Sunday service, well, miss it no longer. Starting today, immediately after service, we are starting online prayer rooms through Zoom. Once you join the Zoom meeting, you'll be placed in a one-on-one Zoom room with a licensed practitioner. They can help hold the truth for you no matter what you're going through and offer you support through spiritual mind treatment and using spiritual practices. After your prayer, or if you don't need prayer today, Zoom right on over to our online Sunday fellowship. Reverend Mary Jane Hyde is hosting today's fellowship through, you guessed it, Zoom. Join her from 11:15 to 12:15 and hang out, discuss the service, what's on your mind and your heart, and what's going on in your life. You can find the details for our events with all the important links on our webpage under events, on our Facebook page under events, in the comments of these videos, or through your weekly newsletter. And that is it for today's announcements. It is now time to move on to our gong wash.
How Good to Center Down, from For the Inward Journey by Howard Thurman. How good it is to center down, to sit quietly and see oneself pass by. The streets of our minds seethe with endless traffic. Our spirits resound with clashings, with noisy silences, while something deep within hungers and thirsts for the still moment and the resting lull. With full intensity we seek, ere the quiet passes, a fresh sense of order in our living, a direction, a strong, sure purpose that will structure our confusion and bring meaning to our chaos. We look at ourselves in this waiting moment, the kinds of people we are. The questions persist. What are we doing with our lives? What are the motives that order our days? What is the end of our doings? Where are we trying to go? Where do we put the emphasis, and where are our values focused? For what end do we make sacrifices? Where is my treasure? And what do I love most in life? What do I hate most in life? And to what am I true? Over and over the questions beat in upon the waiting moment. As we listen, floating up through all the jangling echoes of our turbulence, there is a sound of another kind, a deeper note, which only the stillness of the heart makes clear. It moves directly to the core of our being. Our questions are answered, our spirits refreshed, and we move back into the traffic of our daily round, with the peace of the eternal in our step. How good it is to center down. Let's take a breath as we turn within, recognizing that divine presence is at the center of our being. How good it is to center down. And so I recognize this power and this presence, this divine energy, as love, as peace, as harmony, as abundance. This life, this breath, is my life, my breath. I am that divine presence made manifest. The givingness of life to itself. And as I know this is true for me, I know this is true for us all. We are all that divine love and divine peace made manifest. So in this knowing and awareness, I speak my word of blessing for this service. I speak my word of blessing for Reverend Dr. Sherry and her message. I speak my word of blessing for all involved in this service. And so I rest in this knowing that this service unfolds most divinely, most perfectly. I bless our congregation, knowing that where each of them is, the power and the presence of love and peace enfolds them and wraps them in love and light. I pray special blessings for our first responders and our frontline workers, knowing that they are divinely guided and divinely guarded. I pray blessings for teachers of truth everywhere, knowing that we are all one in the divine. I send special blessings around our nation, praying love and peace into areas of unrest. And I pray love and peace into our world. So, in gratitude and thanksgiving for the perfect unfolding of this service, the perfect unfolding of this day, I release my word in faith, I release my word in trust, and I release my word in truth, knowing that it is already done in the one mind, and I simply allow it to be, and so it is. Amen. And so now, here's Charles Holt.
This is my Father's world, and to my listening ears, all nature sings, and round me rings the music of the spheres. This is my mother's world. Oh, let me never forget that oh, the wrong seems oft so strong. God is the ruler yet. This is my Father's world. I rest me in the font of rocks and trees, of skies and seas. His hands the wonders wrought. This is my mother's world. She shines in all that is fair, in the rustling grass I hear her pass. She speaks to me everywhere. All nature sings, and around me rings the music of the spheres. Ooh.
Wow, thank you so much, Charles. That was one of our favorite friends, Charles Holt from Los Angeles, who's returned to us as our musical inspiration today. What a beautiful song. Thank you so, so much. And so let's just take a breath together as we just keep moving along through August, knowing that our theme for the month is living the contemplative life, living the contemplative life. What that means is living a life of reflection, a life of contemplation, a life of meditation, a life of prayer, a life of oneness, a life of conscious oneness with the divine. That's what a contemplative life is all about, just living in that place of center, living in that place of coming from center. I really love that reading. That's one of my favorite readings, How Good to Center Down. How good to center down. It says that our minds seethe with endless traffic. I love that. Our minds seethe with endless traffic. Just think about it, all the stuff that goes on through our minds, seething with endless traffic. Our spirits resound with clashings, with noisy silences, while something deep within hungers and thirsts for the still moment, the resting law. And there is something deep within each of us that is always hungering for that still moment, because it's in that still moment that we connect with the source of our being. It's in that still moment that we connect with who we really are. In that still moment is when we consciously align ourselves with the all that is, align ourselves with the source of our being. And so how good it is to center down. And that's what is required when we are living the contemplative life, centering down, I call it pulling off to the side of the road, taking a deep breath, connecting with the source of our being, connecting with God, connecting with whatever you call it, source, the universe, divine intelligence, doesn't matter what you call it, or nothing at all, but just connecting with our withinness, with that power and that presence and that intelligence that is within us always, that is guiding us, that is directing us, that is showing us the way, that is awaiting our recognition of it always. And when we can connect in that place, and when we can live from that place, that's what living the contemplative life is all about. A place of reflection, a place of centeredness, a place of just, again, pulling out of the traffic, pulling over to the side of the road, catching our breath, coming into oneness, coming into alignment. And then we can pull back onto the road from that place. We don't pull off to the side of the road and just stay there. We pull off to the side of the road and we get centered. We get centered, and then we move forward from that place of center. And when we're moving forward from that place of center, then that's what living the contemplative life is all about. And so that's what I've been talking about all month, because it is just so important for us to start this. If you haven't already started it, it's important for us to start this now. And if you have started it, it's important for us to step it up now and to be more consciously aware of the contemplative life, be more consciously aware of when we're living from center, be more consciously aware of that power and that presence that is always right where we are. Always right where we are, so that we can move out of that traffic, and we can honor that within us that is hungering and thirsting for the still moment, that we so desperately need. And in these times, in these days, and all the things that are going on now, we need to have that centering place, that centering time, that time of alignment, that time of knowing that we are right where we're supposed to be, right in the midst of our alignment with the all that is. That's what's important for us to know right now. So just living the contemplative life, living in that place, as I said, of reflection, of contemplation, of meditation, of center, so that we can move through these times, move through what appears to be turbulent times, move through with ease and with grace. And speaking of grace, that's the topic for this week. Growing in grace. Growing in grace. Take a breath. Growing in grace. You know, grace is a nebulous concept. Grace is a nebulous concept. There are different ideas about what grace means, but grace basically has been defined in over the years as unmerited favor. Unmerited favor is something that does not have to be earned. God's grace, the quality of grace does not have to be earned by us. It is ours by divine inheritance. It is ours by divine right. Ernest Holmes defines grace as the givingness of spirit to its creation. The givingness of spirit to its creation. Spirit is always giving of itself. And it's that givingness of itself to each of us that is grace. And God is always giving. We don't have to earn it. We don't have to work for it. We don't have to accomplish great things to experience it. We just by being born. An inheritance is something that is ours by the fact that we're born. And so grace is ours by divine inheritance, by divine inheritance. What a relief that is, to know that there is nothing that we can do to accomplish God's grace. There's nothing that we have to do to accomplish God's grace. And there's nothing that we can do that will remove that grace away from us. There's nothing that God does not remove its grace from us because of something we did not do or something we did do or whatever. Grace just is. Grace just is. That's what Ernest Holmes says. Grace just is. And it is up to us to experience it. It is up to us to experience it. It is up to us to open up so that we can be in a place of alignment, so that we can experience the grace of God, so that we can be in a place where we can just experience the grace of God, experience the good of God, experience the life of God. And we can do that just simply by pulling off to the side of the road, getting centered, taking a breath, knowing that God is always right where we are. That power, that presence, that life, that love is always right where we are. Always. You know, I'd like you to try just one thing right now. Just close your eyes just for a moment and just take a breath. And feel that breath in your nostrils as you exhale. And then take another breath in. And then just feel the exhale of that breath. Now just think about the fact that God is closer to you than your breath. That breath that you feel in your nostrils right now, God is closer than that. God is closer than your breath that you feel in your nostrils right now. If you see your hands and your feet, God is nearer than hands and feet. God is nearer than hands and feet. And so all we need to do is just pull off to the side of the road so we can experience the oneness, that we are with the one. Experience the oneness that we are with the one, simply by pulling off to the side of the road, moving out of the traffic, being in that place of alignment and allowing ourselves to experience that givingness of God. What does God's grace look like? It looks like whatever it is we may need at any given moment, the needs being met. God's grace looks like anything you can think of, whether it's health or happiness or a relationship, or relief from pain in the body, financial abundance if you've been experiencing lack, or financial recovery if there has been some kind of chaotic event, healing in a relationship, comfort to the grieving heart, something found that has been lost for a long time, or something that you thought was lost forever, something that you thought was gone, something you had no idea where it was to find it. There's all kinds of little things, everyday graces that happen. There are big things that we call grace, and there are little things that we call grace. Anything that happens that we get to experience the good of God. Anything that happens that we get to really experience and get to know the goodness of God, get to know, as Ernest Holmes says, that there's no place that we can go where we can depart from God's care. When we can get to know that, when we can become more aware of that truth, that the power and the presence of God is always right where we are, that this universe is a universe of good, the universe of good. And we can experience that good over and over and over again, so long as we are in alignment with it. So long as we are in alignment with it. And so that's what we do when we are living the contemplative life. We are always looking to grow in grace, to grow in grace. Our spiritual practice, grace is not a reward or a perk that we receive as a result of doing our spiritual practice. It's not a perk that God gives us for doing spiritual practice, for meditating, and for praying, and for journaling, or for chanting, or whatever. That's not a perk that we get. But our spiritual practice opens us up so that we can expand in consciousness to experience the grace of God, so that we can experience the grace of God. Our spiritual practice does not make grace more available to us. Our spiritual practice makes us more available to grace, because grace just is. It is always available to us. It is always there. It is always there. So if you are experiencing chaos, and you want to move into peace, move into alignment with the all that is, and the peace that comes from that alignment is grace. The peace that comes, the peace of mind that comes to us is grace. That is how the grace of God expresses. That is how the grace of God experiences. That's how we experience the grace of God, through peace and peace of mind, through love, through comfort, through health, through wholeness, through wealth, whatever the case may be. That's how we get to experience. That's how we get to experience the grace of God. And we experience it the more we are ourselves. So I'm inviting you to be yourself. As you go through your life, be yourself. Everybody else is already taken. I read that somewhere. Everybody else is already taken. So be yourself. Be yourself. And if you're in a place where you're questioning that, what does that mean? Do you know who you really are? There are times when we need to ask that question, who am I? Who am I really? Is this the way I want to live my life? Is this the way I want to show up in life? Am I showing up as me? Or am I showing up as people think I am, or someone thinks I should be, or someone wants me to be, or am I trying to please others, or whatever the case may be? If you're a people pleaser, trying to be what somebody else thinks you should be, trying to make sure that somebody loves you because you're acting a certain way or being a certain way. Be yourself. Dare to be yourself during this time. Dare to be yourself in your life. Dare to live your life. Dare to live your life. If you want to change your life, dare to change your thinking. You want to change your life? Dare to change your thinking. You know, our basic teaching is change your thinking, change your life. Change your thinking, change your life. And when you change your thinking, your life begins to change. That's where grace comes in. That's where grace comes in, because you change your thinking. We are moving more and more into alignment with the all that is. And as we move more and more into alignment with the all that is, then our lives begin to change. We begin to experience the good of God. We begin to go to a higher level. We begin to go to a higher level. We begin to live on higher plane. And we begin to let go of all the mundane things that we get caught up in. We begin to let go of the drama of life, the drama that's going on right now. So much drama going on right now, of so much apparent chaos going on right now. And to find peace, to come into alignment with the peace that's in the midst of all the chaos, to come into alignment with all the peace and the peace of mind that's in the midst of all the confused thinking, all the confusing information that's polluting the area right now. The airwaves are polluted with so much negative news, so much negative information, so much misinformation. People don't know what to believe. People don't know what to believe. You hear one thing over on one side, you hear something else on the other side. You wake up in the morning thinking things are going one way because of what you heard yesterday, and then you look up and everything's changed. Somebody has said something different, and then people are beginning to believe different things and beginning to act different ways. Particularly when it comes to COVID-19, the information is all over the place. The information that's coming out is all over the place. So people are afraid. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to think. They don't know whether the kids should go to school or whether we should keep the kids at home. We don't know whether we should be socially distancing or whether it's okay. We don't know whether there should be wearing masks or they shouldn't be wearing masks. There are all kinds of things. What we do know that is unchanging. What we do know that is unchanging. What we do know that is unchanging. It is that power and that presence of God, that divine intelligence, that divine knower within each of us that is always guiding us, always directing us, always showing us the way, always letting us know what step we should take, what step we should take. But we have to slow it down some and come back to just being ourselves, not trying to be like somebody else, not trying to show up like somebody else, just being ourselves. Be yourself. Follow your own guidance. Because God is expressing through each one of us according to our own uniqueness. God wants to show up as each one of us according to our own uniqueness. So when you can be in a place of just being yourself, that's when you get to experience the grace of God. Because when you're being yourself, your authentic self, you're opening up. You're letting down the facade. You're opening up and just allowing that power and that presence to move in and through and as your life, to show up as your life, according to the vision it already had for your life, for itself as your life before you ever came into this plane. God already had a vision of what your life was going to look like. God already had a vision of what my life was going to look like. God already had a vision for all of us. And so when we can open up and just allow that vision to be revealed, when we can open up and allow ourselves to be moved forward according to that vision, then we can really get into being ourselves, being who we were created to be, being who we were brought to this planet to be. And that's when we get to experience the grace. That's when we get to experience the favor. That's when we get to experience the allness and the fullness and all of the good that the universe has to offer us, all of the good that the universe has for us. All of it is ours now by divine birthright. You don't have to deserve it. You've been in situations where you felt like, I don't deserve that because I didn't really work for it. I don't deserve all this good. I've seen many people like that, who don't think that they deserve good because they didn't really work for it. They don't deserve it because they didn't earn it. They don't deserve it because they have more than somebody else has. None of that has anything to do with grace. None of that has anything to do with grace. Grace is ours. Ernest Holmes said, how much life can a person experience? As much as one can embody. As much as one can embody. And he says, this is not fatalistic, because we are constituted so that we are able to constantly increase our ability to embody. We are constituted so that we are continuously able to increase our ability to embody. And so if we can increase our ability to embody, then that means we can continue to grow in grace. We can continue to grow in grace. We can continue to grow in grace. And the more we seek out that one presence, the more we seek out our alignment with that one, the more we seek out to the experience of oneness with the all that is, the more we get to grow in grace. And when we grow in grace, we get to experience ease and flow and goodness. We get to experience the presence of God always in so many ways, in every aspect of our lives. And that's what's really, really important, that we get to grow in grace. We get to expand our ability to embody. And as we expand in consciousness, we expand our ability to embody. And that's what happens when we live the contemplative life. That's what happens when we meditate. That's what happens when we pray. That's what happens when we pull off to the side of the road and center down. That's what happens. That's what happens when we live from that place of center. Our consciousness expands. Our consciousness expands. Our consciousness expands. And we live a life of freedom. We live a life of freedom, and we live a life growing in grace. Growing in grace, growing in power, growing in the goodness of God. And that's what we really want to do. Grow in that goodness. Grow in that place of goodness. And so just take a breath for a moment and just think about being yourself. What does that mean? Who am I? Let that be your question. Who am I? What do I like? What do I want? How do I want my life to be? How do I want my life to look? How can I let grace show up in my life? How can I open up more? Who am I according to who I am? How can I express God according to who I am? What can I let go? What can I let go? What can I just give back to whoever tried to give it to me? Or just brush it off? Just brush it off. How can I do that so that I can be myself? And as I'm being myself, I'm opening up more and more and more. I'm opening up more and more and more to the grace of God. I'm not trying to be like anybody else. I'm not trying to do it like anybody else. I'm not trying to sound like anybody else. I'm not trying to look like anybody. I'm just being me. I'm just being me. I'm just being me. And that's what I'm inviting you to do. Just be you. Be you. And don't use that as an excuse to be rude or to be judgmental or to be however resistant or whatever. Use that as a way of flowering. Use that as a way of flowering, as coming into full bloom, coming into full bloom, coming into full bloom as you, as being all that you can be, being you. And after you really get into being yourself, Then bring the second thing is bring your best self to every day. Bring your best self to every day. Bring your best self to every day. Now, here's something about best. The best shifts. It's sort of fluid. It's sort of fluid, the best. Your best today may not be your best tomorrow. Your best today may not be the same as it was yesterday. Your best in one situation may not be the same as it is in another situation. But making sure in each and every moment of each and every day that you're bringing your best to the situation. Your best may be impacted by pain in the body. Your best may be impacted by grief. Your best may be impacted by other experiences that you're having in your life. Your best may be impacted by having to stay inside. But wherever it is you are, whatever it is you're doing, whatever you find yourself involved in, bring your best self to it. Bring your best self to it. Bring the very best that you are, the very best that you can be, the very best that you can do to each and every moment of each and every day. Live your best life in each and every moment, even though it looks different than it did yesterday. Even though it looks different than it will tomorrow, that still does not mean that you can't bring your best in each and every moment. And so the question has to be, is this the very best I can do? Is this the very best I can be? Am I being my best right now? Am I showing up in the best way possible right now? And if the answer to that question is yes, take a breath and be accepting of that. Take a breath and be accepting of that. Take a breath and be accepting of knowing that I'm bringing my very best to my life right now. I'm bringing my very best to the presence of God right now. I'm bringing my very best so that I'm open to that presence right now. I'm bringing my very best to this situation right now. And when we're doing that, then we can walk through our lives without guilt. We can walk through our lives without shame. We can walk through our lives without judgment. We can walk through our lives without self-criticism. We can walk through our lives with compassion. Because when we're looking to bring our very best to each and every situation, to each and every moment of each and every day, we are doing that from a place of compassion, with an open heart to ourselves, with an open heart for ourselves, first and foremost. This is the very best that I'm bringing right here, right now. It may not be as good as it was yesterday. It may be better than it was yesterday and better than it will be tomorrow. Whatever it is, when we stay in the moment, then none of that's relevant. When we stay in the moment, when we live in the now, then we don't start comparing. When we know that in each and every moment, I'm bringing my best right now. And as I bring my best right now, I'm moving into alignment with all that is. And when I'm in alignment with all that is, grace just abounds. Grace abounds. Grace abounds. It just, the situations that come up that just get resolved easily and effortlessly. That's what grace is all about. It's about effortlessness. It's about ease. It's about flow. It's about oneness. It's about alignment. It's about moving through life with ease. Moving through life. It's like being in traffic and just being sort of on cruise control. You're just moving through life easily, effortlessly, because you know that there's that divine guidance, there's a divine overseer, that divine protector that's always right where we are. That's what grace is all about. That's what grace is all about. And as I said, we think of grace as this big overarching thing. And grace is also the little things in life that make a difference. It's grace. Finding a parking space where you've been driving around forever looking for one, that's grace. Ease. Going someplace that you think you're gonna have to stand in line forever and you get there and there's no line and you move through it easily. That's grace. That's grace. And that's what we have to really be, in a place of just knowing that grace is always available to us. Grace is always available to us. We have to be available to it. We have to be available to it. And when we can bring our best, we're making ourselves available. When we can bring our best, there's nothing blocking. There's nothing blocking. And so the other thing I want you to keep in mind is just saying yes to God's grace. Saying yes to grace. Saying yes to God's grace. And you know, when we say yes to God's grace, that means that we have just surrendered to it. We have surrendered to it. We've surrendered our need to fix things. We've surrendered our need to control. We've surrendered our need to manage. We've surrendered our need to have to be always to be the one out front doing things. We've surrendered all of that. We've surrendered all that. And when we surrender, we say yes to God's grace, then we move into a place of allowing. We move into a place of allowing God to show up. We're moving to a place of allowing God to the answer, allowing God to show us the answer, allowing God to be the answer that it always is, but to show up as the answer to whatever it is. We allow God to show up as needs being met. We allow God to show up as bills being paid. Even though we didn't have the money, even though we didn't have enough money, even though we didn't have whatever it is we thought we needed to take care of it, when we can take our hands off it and move out of efforting, and move out of struggling, and move out of that consciousness of drama. Drama, oh my God, how am I going to take care of this? Oh my God, how am I going to take care of that? When we move out of that place of worry, when we move out of that place of stress, when we move into that place of ease, when we move into that place of trust, because trust is a big factor in grace. When we move into that place of trust in God more than we trust anybody and anything, that place of knowing that all needs are met in each and every moment. When we move into that place, that's when we have surrendered. And when we move into surrender, that's when we're saying yes to grace. Yes to grace. I don't know how this is going to work out. I don't know how this is going to happen. I don't know anything. Just like we don't know how this whole situation that we're in right now with this pandemic is going to work out. But you know what? We know one thing for sure, that there's that divine knower that knows everything. There's a divine intelligence that knows everything. That there's a divine intelligence that we can trust always. That we can trust always about anything and everything. There's no large and small in God. So it doesn't matter how big it may seem to you. It doesn't matter how little it may seem to you. It doesn't matter. Trust God. Trust God for everything. Trust God for everything. Trust God for everything, and then surrender. Surrender your worry. Surrender your drama. Surrender your chaos. Surrender your need to know. Surrender it all. Surrender it all. It doesn't matter what the doctor said. It doesn't matter what the attorney said. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the appearance may be. It doesn't matter what the diagnosis may be. It doesn't matter what the prediction may be. It doesn't matter what the polls may say. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. All of those things are facts. All of those things are appearances. And so we don't have to get all upset about things. We don't have to get all our knickers in a knot about things. We can just take a breath, step back, pull off to the side of the road, center down, and just allow it to unfold. Say yes to God's grace. Say yes to ease. Say yes to effortlessness. Say yes to moving forward in your life. Say yes to moving forward. Say yes to guidance and direction. When you don't know, say yes to that divine guidance, that divine knower that does know. When you're feeling scared, say yes to that courage from within. Say yes to that protector that's within us. That's what grace is all about. That's what grace is, knowing that we are always protected. Grace is God's love and provision that's always provided for us, that's always given to us, that's already been given to us. That givingness of spirit to his creation is what grace is. The givingness of spirit. God has already given it all of itself. God has already given all to each of us, to all of us. And all we need to do is be available to it. All we need to do is be available to it. All we need to do is open up to it. All we need to do is let go of those things that would block. And so we're saying yes to God's grace when we can let go of judgment, when we can let go of judgment against others, judging others, criticizing others, when judging ourselves, criticizing ourselves, blaming others. When we let go of all that stuff, blame and shaming and guilt and regrets and finger pointing and anything that would separate us, when we can let go of that sense of separation, when we can let go of those things that keep us into that them and us syndrome, that keep us divided, when we can let go of all that and just take a deep breath and step back into our oneness with spirit, step back into our oneness with the all that is. When we step back into our oneness with the all that is, then we begin to recognize our oneness with all of life, with all of life. And we find that it isn't necessary to criticize. We find that it isn't necessary to judge. We find that it isn't necessary to blame. We find that it isn't necessary to get caught up in all that stuff. We move back into the truth of oneness, and just allow life to unfold, allow things to evolve, And we don't have to get caught up in the dust storm. We don't have to get caught up in the whirlwind. We can take shelter. We can come home. You know, God is our home. God is our shelter. God is the place that we come for comfort. We can come home. We can come home out of the storm. We can come home out of the rain. We can come home out of the wind. We can come home out of the turmoil. We can come home, close our doors, take a breath, center down, and let the storm pass right on by. Let the storm pass right on by. That's what grace is. That's what grace is. When the storm passes us by, that's grace. When the winds and rains come and the rock on which we stand is solid ground, and we stand on this solid ground, that's grace. Because the winds and the rains pass us by. The winds and the rains pass us by. And even sometimes when they don't, we may be blown about, but we're not knocked down. We're not defeated by it. That's what grace is all about. And so we learn to grow in grace to the degree that we learn to expand in consciousness. We learn to expand in consciousness by spending more and more time with the divine, spending more and more time in that place of oneness, spending more and more time practicing the presence of God. That's how we grow in grace. We grow in grace. We grow in grace when we give up the struggle. Life doesn't have to be a struggle. Life doesn't have to be a struggle. Life doesn't have to be a struggle. When we can move into the flow, when we are struggling, we know we're not in the flow. So take a deep breath, take a step back, and say yes to grace. When you feel like you're so tense, you're so stressed, you're so worried, you're so concerned, you're doing this again, take a step back, pull off to the side of the road, and realize that the streets of your mind are beginning to seethe with endless traffic. And so what you need to do is pull off to the side of the road and honor that part of you that's hungering and thirsting for that still moment. A still moment, just a still moment, taking a breath, and recognizing that this breath that we take is the only breath that is. There's only one breath, and that is the breath of God. And so the more we can take that breath, the more we can step back, the more we can open up, the more we can receive that power and that presence that is already right where we are, the more we can experience grace. And our lives unfold easily, effortlessly, gracefully, and grace-filled. We live grace-filled life. We live grace-filled lives, as well as graceful lives. And so that's what I'm inviting you to do today. Let go of the struggle. Surrender. Surrender the struggle. Surrender the drama. Surrender the chaos. And just say yes to grace. Yes to grace. Yes to God. Yes to life. Let's take a breath together as we move into prayer. Just moving into that place of yes, 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 deep within us. Saying yes to that one power, saying yes to that one presence, saying yes to that one mind, saying yes to that one life, saying yes to that one breath, saying yes to that one, knowing that that one is God itself. That one is the only one, the only power, the only presence, the only mind, the only life. And this only is my very life. This only is the life of each of us, of each of us. And we're saying yes to it right here and right now. Saying yes to the allness and the fullness of that one right here and right now. And as we do so, we're opening ourselves up to grace. We're saying yes right now to the grace of God, knowing that we don't have to earn it. We just say yes to it and experience that flow, experience that ease, experience that effortlessness. And it is from this place of knowing that there's only one, that this place of oneness with the one, that I speak the word for each of us this day. Just knowing that we walk forward in ease and grace, letting go of the struggle, letting go of that which does not serve, opening our hearts and opening our minds to healing on every level of our being, opening our hearts and opening our minds to all the qualities of God, to all of the abundance, to all of the abundance, to all the prosperity, to all of the healing in the body temple, healing on this planet, healing the broken hearts, healing the grieving hearts. This is what we're opening ourselves to, because this is what God is doing right here and right now as I speak this word. I know that healing is happening. Healing is happening for each and every person who's experiencing physical difficulties, that every organ, every cell, every tissue, every function of the body is experiencing the healing presence of God right now. For those who have lost loved ones, I know that God is right in the midst, comforting each and every one as they release their loved ones. And for those who have moved on, as they move on to the next plane, moving into the light, with ease and grace and freedom. I know that there's courage, and I know that there's forgiveness, and I know that there's compassion, and I know that there's everything that we could possibly need. Everything that we could possibly need is ours right here and right now by this word that's being spoken. And so I pause momentarily as I open this circle of prayer so that you may speak the names of anyone you'd like held in prayer. You may speak their names silently or aloud, and you may speak them now. And so for all those whose names were spoken here this day, I know that God is right where each person is, right where each of them is, God is, in the midst of every situation, every circumstance. This prayer goes out to first responders everywhere, to those essential workers everywhere who are caring for more and more and more people. I know that this prayer goes out to everyone, everywhere, who needs a prayer this day. For God is. God is. And that's all we ever need to know. And so I simply say in this moment, thank you, Father, Mother God. Thank you, infinite presence. Thank you, infinite presence. Thank you, Divine Mother. For everything, thank you. I know that all is well, and I simply allow it to be. And so it is. And so now we're just going to move into our time of giving and receiving, our offering time. This is a time that we give of our tithes and our offerings. And CLF is a tithing church, so I invite you to participate in this sacred practice with us by giving of your tithes and offerings here at CLF. You can do that by clicking the donate link on the comment section that you're watching right now, or by going to our Facebook page and clicking on donate there. You can also text to give, and that number is on the screen right now also. And so as we are preparing our offerings, let's just say our offering blessing together right here. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God. And so it is. So now here's Charles Holt again with our offering song.
Good morning, beautiful friend. Here's your friendly announcer. I have serious news to pass on to everybody. What I'm about to say could mean the world's disaster, could change your joy and laughter to tears and pain. Is that a loss in need of love today? Don't delay, send yours in right away. Hey, it's going round, breaking many hearts. Stop it, please, before it's gone too far. Hey, ooh, hey. The force of evil plans to make you its possession, and it will if we let it destroy everybody. We all must take precautionary measures. If love and peace you treasure, then you'll hear me when I say, don't you know that love's in need of love today? Look around, you don't delay. Send yours in right away. Send yours in right away. Hey, it's going around, breaking many hearts. Oh, stop it, please. You know it's gone too far. Hey, yeah, love, doesn't need love today. Just take a look around you. Don't delay. Send yours in right away. Send it now, 'cause hey, it's going around breaking many hearts. Oh, stop it, please. You know it's gone too far. Hey, hello, be love. Sing yours in right away. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, Charles. We are so happy that you spent this Sunday morning with us, and we look forward to you coming to visit with us again real soon. So let's take a deep breath together. I have a few closing announcements. We have a new way of praying with practitioners. We are now returning to the opportunity that you had to pray with practitioners live in the sanctuary when we were coming into the sanctuary. Now you can go into the Zoom prayer room and pray with practitioners individually by clicking on the Zoom link. And Nicole explained that in the announcements, and I'm sure it's scrolling across the screen as I speak right now. So immediately after service today, you can pray with a practitioner individually in a prayer room by clicking on the Zoom link. And you also can pray with practitioners live at any time with our on-call practitioners who are listed on our Facebook page and also on the website. And you can pray with practitioners live at any time by just calling those on-call practitioners. If you want to submit a prayer request, a written prayer request, you can do that by emailing practitioners at prayer@creativelivingfellowship.com. That's prayer@creativelivingfellowship.com if you'd like to email a prayer request. And those written prayer requests, the practitioners are praying over for 30 days. So feel free to avail yourself, please avail yourself of the opportunity to receive prayer from our practitioners. However you want to do it, you can do it. As I said, in the Zoom room, I'm so excited about the Zoom room. People being able to pray individually with practitioners in our Zoom room. So take advantage of that immediately after service on Sunday mornings, starting today, or call a practitioner or send an email to a practitioner. Also, don't forget to connect with us on Tuesday evenings. Every Tuesday evening, I hold a connection Zoom call with people. It's not a call, really, it's a connection because we get to see each other on Tuesday evenings. And some Tuesdays we're doing visioning. That's now gone to every other week. And other Tuesdays we are discussing maybe what happened on Sunday service or what's going on in someone's life or whatever subject or topic that's recommended or suggested that we can all connect around. So if you have a topic that you'd like to send in, that you'd like to see discussed on the Tuesday evening connection call, send it to connect@creativelivingfellowship.com. That's connect@creativelivingfellowship.com. And I'll take a look at it, and you show up on Tuesday evenings, and that's what we'll connect around. And so the other thing that I want to remind you of is to continue to say our prayer every day, our community prayer every day, the treatment for supply. That's our community prayer. And so continue to use the treatment for supply. It works. It really, really helps us all as we move through this time, as we move through our lives. The treatment of supply can be found on the Science of Mind textbook, page 262. So avail yourself of that also every day. Make it a regular part of your spiritual practice. And don't forget to read it with gusto, with meaning, with feeling, so that it really, really works in your life. And so finally, the most important thing is connecting with each other. Remember to connect with each other. Remember to send those cards, make those phone calls, send a text, email, however you connect, and just say, I love you, I miss you, I can't wait to see you again, I'm thinking of you. It means so much. And you know what? Sometimes just a phone call or just a text message or whatever, a card is grace. It can be everyday grace. And so I invite you to do that. Be sure and make that connection. Until next week, I love you. I miss you. I can't wait to see you again. And I don't know when that will be. However, just know that you're always in my heart. You're always on my mind. Take good care. God bless.